It is freaking Monday. And let me tell you something. Monday come quick than a motherfucker. You be so hyped for the weekend, like, yo, Saturday is shit. No, not Saturday. Fucking Friday. Like, yes, it's Saturday tomorrow. We got to get to go out and do shit. And then, boom, it's Monday. Like, the weekend literally feels like it lasts 10 minutes. But anyway, came across this clip. And again, I only like to talk about things that pull things out of me. Now, I watch Fresh and Fit, but I'm kind of like in and out, if that makes sense. Like, I do fuck with their content to some degree. I'm not crazy about I guess where they lose me at, right? The whole round table full of girls thing that they do, right? That's cool and all, but you gotta understand something. Your average everyday chick is not gonna listen to what the fuck a dude is talking about. They're just not. Like, you gotta, okay. A girl's not gonna listen to a man until she feels that she has to. Like, or, until she feels like she wants whatever she wants out the situation. Like, she is attracted to the dude enough to listen. So Fresh, well, not Fresh, but Myron telling these motherfuckers that, they should do all this shit, typically is not gonna necessarily work. Does that make sense? Now, first things first. This is going on YouTube, so I'm not gonna upload the Fresh and Fit part of the clip for YouTube. But anybody on my Snapchat is gonna be able to see it. Now, the first part of this clip I do want to address. Him saying that not living with your girl maintains the attraction. I think there is some truth to that. Right? The whole distance makes the heart grow fonder thing. That's not exactly you want to live a certain quality of life or you don't. You know what I mean? Because look, it's a big difference between waking up to your own cooking and waking up to a motherfucker cooking for you, or a woman servicing you and taking care of a house. But that's just a matter of preference. I think it does maintain attraction because, if you are not living with your woman, I guess for the most part, she misses you more than you miss her. And it makes her kind of have you on her mind more. Like, I guess that's the thing about women, right? A lot of the work is up here. Meaning, like, making money's great. Being on top of your shit is great, but a woman has to be attracted to you in some way, right? So a motherfucker not living with you does help you stay on their mind enough. Like, okay, it almost becomes this thing where if a motherfucker's thinking about you, because they're thinking about you, they want to see you. But if you keep them at arm's length, then it does maintain that whole, like, dang, I do want to see him, and I worry about what's that. You know what I mean? Because some women, when they move in with you, they get comfortable. And I'm not saying that happens to every girl. There are women that live with men that appreciate their man being around. And then there's women that live with men that get entitled to what a man does on a day-to-day basis. I mean, and the same thing with dudes. Like, we all get entitled to each other. I mean, it gets to be a bit normal. But I think that's what, y'all working at the relationship day in, day out comes in. Meaning, like, you can live with a motherfucker and you may feel different toward him, or shit may get a little too normal with him, but that's a choice you wake up and do every day. Does that make sense? And this where having some shit going on comes in. Meaning, like, look, I think what makes a motherfucker not attracted to you is them seeing you not try. I guess, like, how can I put this and make it make sense? You gotta have a reason to get out the house besides, like, going to get drunk or going to hang out with your boys. Like, if you're outside of the house for, like, work purposes, or you outside of the house because you just want to go work out, or you have something that you're trying to, like, figure out or whatever, I think that does also help the attraction because it shows ambition. Meaning, like, okay, I have a PS5 at the house, right? And I will play PS5, but I don't get jammed up on that motherfucker, like, all day. At the most, I probably might give it like 2 or 3 hours, right? And that's on, like, a Saturday when she wants to watch Bad Girls Club and I just feel like playing PlayStation. We give each other that type of space. But what I'm saying is like, you got to have a reason to get out the house. You got to have something to be working toward, or, something that keeps you going. Like, because, look, as much as women may not want to admit it, I think girls enjoy the chase a little bit, the same way men do a little bit. But It's just women have a harder time admitting to that. Like, I'm not chasing no man. No, you just not chasing a man that you're not attracted to. Now, another part of the clip he said, right, was like, as far as like living separate, not living with your girl. Say y'all have a kid. And, you know, we're talking about like a young kid, like maybe 1 to 5, right? He's saying mom can handle most of that shit herself. I'm telling you now from experience, that is a fucking lie. Like, you can tell he don't have kids. Look, all that shit sounds cool on a podcast in front of a microphone, right? Okay, I'll give you my experience, right? I remember when I left, when I went on deployment. London I might have had London 2 weeks. I said it like I birthed her. My baby mama had London, I say like 2 months before I had to go on my first deployment. When I came back to a whole different kid, and I came back to a whole different mom, right? When a motherfucker is stuck with that baby by themselves, you gotta understand something as a man. That's a level of stability that you bring to a relationship, right? Just your presence alone, as much as motherfuckers do not want to admit to it, just you being there with that motherfucking woman and kid makes a world of a difference. Because I'm telling you, raise a small child by yourself, right? That shit will make you crack. Like, you will lose your mind, you will go insane. When I came back from deployment, listen, and I'm telling you, I was sending money home. I was sending money home all the time. We had a joint account, which is probably one of the dumbest things I could have ever done. But every paycheck I had, she got it for that kid. When I came back from deployment, motherfucker was still cussing me out like, oh, you're never here. I can't be in both places, bitch. You knew I was in the Navy when this shit started. But at the same time, when you really think about it, honestly, that man not being in the home shit, regardless of whatever year it is, it's going to affect that woman. And a motherfucker because you got to think, a motherfucker don't necessarily, a kid is a non-stop job, right? And when you're a woman susceptible to your environment and everything that's going on, eventually you are going to wear thin. You might wear thin very quickly. You'll keep going, but you'll break down and then start and then break down and then start and then cry and fall apart and then start. Like, I'm not saying, okay, you, as a mother, you're not going to quit, but I'm saying that kid's going to whoop your ass. So you not being there just because it's easier for mom to do it is kind of some bullshit. Now, the next part of this clip, right? He's talking about you live with your chick, you get lazy. Why is my light dimming? Yeah, you live with your chick, you get lazy. That is on you, the man. Now, one thing I've learned about being in a relationship is I don't sacrifice certain parts of myself. Meaning, like, I'm gonna get up in the morning and work, and I'm gonna go to the gym. Those are my two things. Listen, I'm cool with skipping the PS5 for the day. Like, I'm not gonna not work out. It's not happening. Like, I'm not gonna not work. It's not happening. I'm not gonna, like, get up and, you know, do the things that I need to do for myself or whatever the case may be. That whole chick making a man lazy thing, that's just a matter of a woman making a comfortable home. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't, it's gonna sound crazy, you can't necessarily get too comfortable in a woman's femininity. Does that make sense? Like, listen, I'm telling you, when you like the girl that you with and you laying in bed with this motherfucker and you gotta work Saturday or you gotta work that Friday morning and she doesn't, like, okay, my girlfriend has the day off today. I came into work. I can't just not come into work because she's off. Like, you know what I mean? I could technically call these motherfuckers and be like, you know, I don't feel like coming in, put PTO in. Cool. But how many times can I realistically do that and have to work? Like, and I think that's the thing that kind of gets our hairs, you know, our eyes. I think that's the thing that gets us crossed up a little bit. I was trying to say something else and it didn't land right in my brain. It's too early. But I think that's the thing that gets us crossed up a little bit. Because I think men and women don't understand each other on a work ethic level. Meaning, like, as a dude, truthfully, if I had it my way, right, I'd wake up in the morning, work out, play PS5, smoke some weed, and just not do anything for the rest of the day. you can't realistically do that. No, but for real, I can't realistically just sit on my ass all day. As much as I'd want to, it'd be nice, it'd be cool. like, okay, I guess where we get confused at is this, right? Women are not necessarily providers. So y'all are not burdened with the burden of like living up to shit, if that makes sense. Like okay, most girls, the way y'all think, it's like, okay, I just want to see what fun we're gonna have on the weekend. That's just, I'm not saying women don't think further than that. I know there's women that do, but most girls, there's a song that girls just want to have fun. That is that's a real thing. Like, motherfuckers really just want to have fun, especially motherfuckers that work. Like, you work all week, you want to have fun on the weekends. That's the process, right? That's not the same thing for a man. Like, you can want to have fun on the weekends, but you got to also make sure there's enough shit going on right in order to make sure the bills is paid. That's not saying that a woman don't contribute. I don't want this to get blurred when I say all this, right? Look, I know as far as me, right? At some point, someone's going to ask me for money, whether I like it or not. And a big part of my existence has been lightening that load as much as I can over the course of my life. As soon as I was old enough to work, I was helping motherfuckers and paying bills. And that has not stopped for the past 20 years, right? As soon as when I was 15, 16, got a work permit, I was helping with bills. I was responsible from that point. You know what I mean? And it's never been one of those things I could just be selfish and look out for self. Because as your existence as a man, you're here to kind of provide and help everybody else, whether that be on a big level or a small level, right? I've always been a person that's been asked for money. I've always been a motherfucker that always had to have it. Like, I've never had the opportunity to just give a fuck about just me and no one else. It doesn't work that way. So when you see a dude get up in the morning, like, okay, for instance, right? You see my Snapchat. I think I got up at like 2 this morning because I've come to understand about JB Hunt that if I don't do it before work, it's not more than likely going to get done. Because the way JB Hunt think, or most trucking companies that I've worked for, they want you to be, I wouldn't say obsessed with the truck, but absorbed with it. Meaning like, work 12 hours a day. And then, hey, whatever you do on your off time, don't get in no trouble because you got to drive a truck. Like, listen, at this point, I would love nothing more than to just get high and be able to get drunk and then have 3 days to just bullshit, right? But I got to come into work, and not only that, but DOT is a thing, right? DOT don't give a fuck about you wanting to have fun, right? When you get a CDL, you have to maintain that CDL. I can't just, I want to get high and just do bullshit. Or I'm going to drunk drive. You know what I mean? The point I'm making is this. I got to keep my foot on the gas pedal. I have to get up in the morning, and whatever it is I want to do, I have to make sure I do it before I actually start work. Because once this truck starts moving, I'm stuck in this truck for the next hour, 11 hours or 12 hours or however long it goes. Right? And at the end of said 12 hours, I'm too tired to do anything else. So it's one of those things where you can't necessarily take your foot off the gas, because at some point someone's gonna need something. Something's gonna break. I gotta think, like, okay, your existence as a man is solving problems, right? And most dudes, what they want to do for the most part is get to a point where they just don't want to hear anybody talk about anything. Don't bring nothing up. Don't tell me about your fucking friends at work. Most guys, if you are the kind of guy that maintains shit for everybody else, you just want everybody to shut the fuck up, really. Like, okay, Father's Day is coming up. You want to give a man a gift? Give him a day with silence. Don't say shit about shit. Like, don't ask how he's feeling. Well, I mean, you can ask, but ask from a support of like, hey, I just want to bring you, like, just listen, bring the man something to eat. Don't cause problems. Don't spill emotions. Listen, Father's Day, tuck that shit. You can shut the fuck up for a day. And I'm not saying that from a malicious place, but it's like a life of happiness isn't a life for a man that's trying to maintain and like handle shit. Because you got some guys that just don't give a fuck and they just will get high and just drink Mountain Dew and play Xbox all day and that's their existence, right? But I mean, for a man that maintains a family, like, that gives a fuck about you and your well-being, that gets up on a Saturday and makes sure your car has your oil changed and everything, and your tires are rotated. You know, when a man, like, okay, my Saturdays are starting to turn into handle extra shit that I can't do during the weekday. Meaning, like, if there's something business related I gotta handle, I do it on a Saturday. If I gotta get my hair cut, I do it on a Saturday because I don't have time during the week to do it. Something breaks, I do it on a Saturday. Something gotta get fixed or moved around the house or whatever the case may be, I do it on a Saturday. The washer dryer is broke downstairs. I get up at 3 in the morning and take the clothes to get washed because I'm usually up earlier than everybody else, right? And I'm up earlier because it's easier for me to get shit done without the disturbance of nothing else. That's not me saying that to be a jerk. I'm saying, like, I can't just take off and not do shit. You know what I mean? I could do that, but, you know, at some point, someone's going to need something. And I guess that's where we get crossed up a lot of times because women kind of get pulled at for the nurturing aspect, meaning like the kids kind of go to mom first for the most part. I'm not saying they don't care about dad, but as far as like maintaining a house and maintaining, you know, the peacefulness in the kitchen and there's food, like I don't want this to come across as if both halves don't work. Each half works. Each half just works differently. Because I'm a believer, if a woman's at peace, she'll make a peaceful home. I really do think that. Like, okay, you can work hard, pay bills, and change all the other shit on Saturday. But if the house ain't maintained when you get off work, nigga, you gonna have a whole different type of problem. Like, you do not want to come home from a 12, 13-hour shift to an angry woman. Like, there's a meme of a guy sitting in a parking lot, just sitting there outside his house for like 30 minutes before he comes in because he knows that him and his wife are at odds, right? Look, I don't want this to come across a certain way. I'm just saying the work that men and women do is just different, right? Women more so maintain the inside of the house. Men more so care about the roof and all the other shit that happens outside of it. But both halves work in synergy to make a whole entire situation work. And I'd say as far as earning money, right? It's not that women can't earn. Again, it's just, I think what happens when these conversations come up, I think our priorities are just different. I mean, my girlfriend gets drunk and has fun way more than I do. Like, and I say all the time that we each have our role to play. Like you know, okay, I could go out to the bar and drink, but I'm not typically someone that likes to drink. I'm not typically drink. I don't like the hangovers. And not only that, but I be wanting to go to gym like really, really light. I may get a margarita or something, but I don't like the idea of being hung over the next day to miss a gym day. Like, I'll do that once in a blue moon, but I'm not finna just miss days where I can go get up Sunday and work out, or I can get up and be trying to make some side money or whatever. I don't like missing those days typically, right? That's not to say that a woman don't work. I mean, it's just the work is just different on both sides. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not finna like not do the things that I need to do to maintain the things that need to be maintained. Like, I'm more of an on the ball kind of person. I like my ass getting out of bed. Like, I personally am not doing it. And I think every man needs to work themselves into a position where they can enjoy waking up in the morning, getting a good breakfast from their wife and seeing their kids. Like, I don't think sometimes you think about, you know, people think about how spoiled you can be as a man, meaning like, you know, you got to take the little stuff into consideration and the things that, you know, you think aren't a big deal. You got to slow down and smell the roses. Like, if you're able to wake up next to your wife every morning and get bacon and eggs and everything and see your children, I think that within itself is a gift. Like, look, I get irritated at this job sometimes, but I am off on the weekends. That was a position I had to work myself into. When I first started trucking, well, not even when I first started trucking. Take it back all the way from when I was in the Navy. Like, there was times I had to come in on a Saturday to do a duty day, and I'd be there the entire day, and I wouldn't get off till Sunday morning. Like, not only that, shoot, let a motherfucker be late for watch. Shoot. But I'm just saying, like, you know, the position I'm in now, I've worked myself to a position where, for the most part, you know, I can wake up on a Saturday and I do have time to myself to do things that I need to do, and I am able to make that time to do, you know, work toward the goals that I want to work toward. You know what I mean? That's a luxury within itself, right? Because you got to think, in order to make a lot of money and then still have time, that means you have to make a decent amount of money to be able to enjoy a Saturday morning. You know, I was watching this clip from Patrick Bet-David, right? And he's a guy I used to work for a long time ago in my early 20s. He said, I work 6.5 days a week. Meaning like he'll work Friday, Saturday. He'll work through Friday all the way through Saturday. And then he'll work like a half a day Sunday and take off Sunday evening. That's the type of work ethic that it takes to like really make it in this life. For the most part. But that's hard to get across to a motherfucker that don't feel like they got to do that. Does that make sense? That's not to say women don't work, but it's hard to get that type of like, it's hard to explain to a person that wants to have fun why you feel like you got to work on the weekends. Does that make sense? Most motherfuckers don't want to work on the weekends, so to voluntarily work on the weekends, that's a foreign concept. But, you know, this was a video I had seen, came across, whatever the case may be. You know, it was something I felt was an interesting topic. And again, it's not that men work harder than women. I just think the work is different. You know, I'm here to bridge the gap. I'm not here to kick nobody's back in or make nobody feel small, because look, it's a big deal to have a good home to come to. You can make all the money in the world, but if you don't have no peace in your house, then what does your money mean? I guess. But, you know, it's 4 a.m. I'm getting sleepy again. I'm going to probably watch a little bit of anime and doze off for like a little bit until I have to start my job. So, happy Monday. We back in this bitch again.